I'm here at RavenDB with Michael Yarichuk. How are you today?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
Good, I'm very well, thank you. So we have plenty to talk about. Let's start off with reaching to RavenDB. What problems does it solve?
The official definition would be OLTP, online transactional processing. But the more non-technical term, and I think it will be more correct to say that everything that is not business intelligence, BI, or reporting we solve very well.
Fantastic. Lovely. And when we are talking about RavenDB, what distinguishes it from NoSQL sort of databases?
From NoSQL, three things. First of all, this is common pretty much to all document databases. The data modeling will be different. So, for example, one of the things that might sound to people used to more traditional quote-unquote databases such as relational ones, normalization is not required really. So this provides a very big performance optimizations because the joins, which are inevitable if you normalize as required with any relational database, are very costly in terms of performance. Two other things, we have our indexes run in the background. So thanks to that, we do not have any locks, row locks, column locks, which are really a bane of any relational database that is loaded in non-trivial manner. And another thing, our indexes essentially pre-compute our data results. So essentially any query that has latency more than 50 milliseconds, we treat it as a possible bug and investigate why it's so slow, and assuming don't have any bottlenecks such as with memory or storage. So those three things, that's on the basic level, which separate from relational databases. And then come the other things. I usually call them bells and whistles, but we try to provide developer experience and the overall maintenance of the database to minimize both maintenance and the time and effort required to actually develop something with RavenDB. For example, even just a small example off top of my head, our indexes, usually DBAs need to create indexes, analyze the data, the shape of it, the queries, create the relevant indexes. We auto-create the needed indexes, monitor them for usage, and delete them if they are not needed or not used for long enough.
Okay, so can you take us through the main differences between RavenDB and relational databases?
Those were the main differences on the lowest possible level, on the structural level, if you will. And then we allow also lots of, let's call them productivity features and monitoring features, which allow also to save time and space in the comparison to relational databases. For example, we have a feature called data subscription, which allows what is sometimes called Hollywood principle. So we define subset of data, and when it's changed, we actively in real time notify client applications that it was changed and provide them with the data before and after. So you won't see something like this in any relational database.
Good to know. And in terms of developers' experience, can you talk us through that?
Okay, so we are developers, and sometimes we like to say that it's by developers for developers. So dealing with databases does not need to be hard. So we provide multiple APIs in multiple languages, .NET, Java, Node.js, Python, I think it's Go even we have one. We constantly develop new APIs. And each API just works as expected without any kind of surprises that really can stop your development, because if you're surprised, this means that you didn't take something into account and you introduce unnecessary complexity at the best case in your system. Now, in addition to that, we intentionally structured our API to resemble major ORMs, object relational mappers, to ease the learning curve of developers who are used to dealing with relational databases. So that's another thing in developer experience. Now, what's better, all of our communication between client and server ports of application, client developer's code and server RavenDB in this case. It's HTTP based, REST based. So this means that our database can be scripted with any kind of tool like Coral that can do HTTP requests to automated deployments, automated rollouts, transferring data, bringing up instances and clusters even, stuff like that. So we try to cover every part of development cycle to be as easy as possible while retaining the same functionality you would expect from a proper database.
Excellent. You've been very thorough for us. Have we touched on your favorite aspects?
Yes. One of my favorite aspects, I have two favorite aspects, which in my opinion, even among some clients, are not used enough. I mean data subscriptions, which is awesome and pretty unique among the database, at least from what I know. And I've seen most of them. And the other thing, I'm with one more colleague developing. Currently, it's an experimental feature. We're going to be graph database, and this means you have two modes of treating your data. Either you treat them as documents, which is JSON files, separate files, or you treat them, or you treat the relationships, and they are inevitable in any proper enterprise data set. You treat relationships as first-class citizens. And this means you can do something like fetching entire organizational structure of a company with one query and traversing the data, computing stuff like shortest path between 2 points. So fun stuff like that.
Excellent.
Have I mentioned that I love graph theory? So, yeah.
Thank you so much for telling us all about RavenDB today. It's good to talk to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.